What's up, YouTube? It's time for me to make my Week 7 NFL picks. Let's dive into it. We got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Giants. Folks, I'm going to go with the Panthers in this matchup. They started the season 3-0. Sam Darnold looked good. The defense was playing well. However, during the last 3 games, Sam Darnold has looked like the Sam Darnold we saw in New York last year. This Panthers secondary is struggling. They also don't have CMC, but the Giants only have 1 win this season. Dave Gettleman will probably get fired by the end of the season. Daniel Jones most likely will not be the quarterback by the end of this year or the following season, and Jason Garrett will probably be out as the offensive coordinator. I like the Panthers on the road. Next up, we have the Jets taking on the Patriots. Last time these two teams played, Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions. I expect Mac Jones to take care of the football. New England finally gets its first win at home this year. Give me the Patriots. Next up, we have the Chiefs taking on the Titans. Folks, both of these defenses are below average units. The Titans allowed Zach Wilson to have the best game of his NFL career thus far. Last week, they allowed 31 points to the Buffalo Bills. The Kansas City Chiefs, on the other hand, have allowed Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen to feast all over their defense. This game is going to come down to which team has the ball last. Derrick Henry is sensational. I expect him to have a field day. But Pat Mahomes will do his thing. He still has Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. I believe he takes care of the football this week against a bad Tennessee defense. And I got Kansas City. Next up, we have the Packers taking on the Washington football team. Taylor Heineke isn't the answer in Washington. He's a better short-term solution than a Ryan Fitzpatrick, but ultimately, this is a guy that was taking college classes at the end of December. He played well in a playoff game, had some moments this season, Thursday Night Football, played well against the Giants, but he isn't the quarterback moving forward that Washington needs to have. On the other side, this Green Bay offense is humming. Last week, Aaron Rodgers was confident, he was feeling dangerous. After scoring a touchdown, he told the Bears fans that he owns them, and he absolutely has every right to be excited. The Packers will win this game on Sunday. Next up, we have a battle between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. I honestly think this game should be flexed to Sunday night. The Ravens look dominant. Last week, they shut down the Chargers, beat them up 34-6. Now they play a divisional rival, a team that is much better than most people expected. The Cincinnati Bengals look like a legit team. Joe Burrow is playing better than I could have even imagined. Coming off that devastating, gruesome ACL injury he suffered last season, Jamar Chase has absolutely lived up to being the 5th overall pick. He's the early favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I thought the Bengals should have taken Penei Sewell with the 5th overall pick last year. You have to protect Joe Burrow, especially off that devastating injury. They went with Chase, and boy, that looks like the right pick. Joe Mixon is able to run the football. I'm going to go with Baltimore. I say since he keeps it close, but ultimately Lamar is going to do his thing. Give me the Ravens. Next up, we have a matchup between the Falcons and the Dolphins. Guys, the Tua Tagovailoa era is coming to an end in Miami. The Dolphins haven't fully bought into him. Last year, they benched him twice. Before the season started, they were interested in Deshaun Watson. Now, according to John McClain, a deal could potentially be finalized this week. I don't expect a deal to happen. However, I don't think Tua will be the Dolphins quarterback by the start of next year. I think he'll be a member of A, the Washington football team, or B, the Denver Broncos, and I don't love his outlook in either one of those situations. On the other side, Atlanta is coming off of a bye. They get Calvin Ridley back. I expect Kyle Pitts to have a big game. Against the Jets, Kyle Pitts had his best game of the season. Now he has an opportunity to show the Miami Dolphins why they shouldn't have traded down and why they will regret not taking him, not keeping the 3rd overall pick and taking him at number 3. Give me the Falcons. Next up, we have a revenge game between the Lions and the Rams. Jared Goff taking on his former team. Matt Stafford plays the team that took him with the 1st overall pick. I'm going to go with the Rams. Jared Goff hasn't won a game without Sean McVay as a head coach. He was a disaster with Jeff Fisher. Now, he hasn't been bad with the Lions. However, he isn't the long-term answer. On the other side, Matt Stafford has been really good in Los Angeles. I think he's lived up to the billing. However, this team needs to win a Super Bowl with Stafford in order to justify the trade long-term. However, in this game, they should easily blow out the Lions. Give me the Rams. Next up, we have another revenge game. We have the Texans taking on the Cardinals. I expect DeAndre Hopkins to have a big game against his former team. It's honestly crazy to think about where the Texans were a couple of years ago. They were up 24-0 against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round of the playoffs. Ended up losing that game. Kansas City went on to win the Super Bowl. Following that season, DeAndre Hopkins was traded for a 2nd round pick. For a 2nd. Not a 1st, a 2nd. I couldn't believe it. I fell out of my seat. It made absolutely no sense. 4 games into the following season, Bill O'Brien was fired. Now, Deshaun Watson isn't playing for this team. He's still on their roster, but he's dead set. He doesn't want to play for this franchise anymore. He's going to be elsewhere at some point. This team is an absolute mess. They have no idea what they are doing. I don't believe in this roster. Kyler Murray looks like the MVP frontrunner. They have so many weapons. They just traded for Zach Ertz. They're at home. Give me the Cardinals, even if Cliff Kingsbury doesn't coach this week. I like Arizona. Next up, we have the Eagles taking on the Raiders. Jalen Hurts can play, guys. However, I'm not sure if he's a franchise quarterback. He's a mobile player that has some big playability, but he's an inconsistent passer. The accuracy isn't there 100%. On the other side, I love what I'm seeing with Josh Jacobs. The Raiders look like they responded to... They look like they have responded to Rick Passagia, the new interim head coach. The John Gruden situation was definitely tough to take. However, this team looks like they have banded together, and they're at home playing well in Las Vegas. I'm going to go with the Raiders. Next up, we have a matchup between the Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last year on Thursday Night Football, Tom Brady forgot what down it was on 4th down. Now, he has a full year. He had a full year with this team. Not only did he have success with the Buccaneers in his first season, but he won the Super Bowl. Last year on Thursday night, he was still figuring out the playbook, and a bunch of his skilled players were either banged up or unable to play. He didn't have Chris Godwin or O.J. Howard active in that matchup. Antonio Brown wasn't on the roster. Mike Evans and Gronk were banged up. Both guys played, but they didn't have much of an impact. Now Tom Brady has all his weapons ready to go. I like Justin Fields, but he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with the greatest quarterback of all time, and I don't expect him to keep up. Give me the Bucs in Tampa Bay. Next up, Sunday Night Football. We have the Colts taking on the 49ers. This is a must-win for both of these teams. From Indy's perspective, if they lose this game, they could be hitting the panic button on Carson Wentz. Indy faces a very tough schedule. Later in the season, they have to play Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Arizona. They're losing all 3 of those games. During these next 2 weeks, this week they play the 49ers, next week they play the Titans. If they can win both of those games, they have a shot at winning the division. The Titans play Kansas City next week, and if they lose to Indy would actually take over first place in the AFC South. But if they lose to San Francisco and they lose to Tennessee, Carson Wentz could be in danger. I'm not saying that Carson Wentz isn't better than Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger. But if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps, or if the Eagles fail to make the playoffs, Indy will lose their first-round pick. They have to make a decision sooner rather than later. On the other side, San Francisco had a bye. Although I'm not the biggest believer in Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a week to get healthy. The Niners are at home. I like the Niners in San Francisco. Finally, Monday Night Football. We have the Saints taking on the Seahawks. The Seahawks have played well without Russell Wilson. However, it hasn't translated to any victories thus far. Jameis Winston looks like a much better player in Sean Payton's offense. The Saints had a bye. Michael Thomas is coming back soon at some point during the season. They're going to run the football with Alvin Kamara. I trust the Saints defense as opposed to the Seattle defense. Give me the Saints on Monday Night Football. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you liked this video, and be sure to let other people know about my channel. Please subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thanks, guys.